The saying goes that a playoff series does not start until the road team takes a game. I'm here to say that I don't agree with that. I think a playoff series starts in game 2. Because if you look at half of the series we got in the first round, they're tied 1-1. So of course those series have started. But for the 2 series that we have right now that are 2-0, those series have started as well, because if that team that's down 0-2 goes and loses game 3, the season's over. The season's over. So I think game 2 is when we really say, okay, is it going to be 1-1 or is it going to be one-sided and that team got to fight back? Those are just my thoughts. But we have 3 games once again last night we're going to talk about. We have the 76ers taking game 2 and tying up 1-1 with the Boston Celtics. We got the Portland Trailblazers taking game 2 and tying that series 1-1. And we got the LA Lakers going up 2-0 in the series against the Houston Rockets. So, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Going for 2. I am Q1 Humphreys, and let's dive right into it. Okay, we're going to start with LA. We're going to start with LA and Houston. The Lakers are up 2-0 with no Luka Doncic and no Austin Reeves. That's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? That is crazy to me. And it feels like my camera is kind of shifted like this. So you're missing your 2 top scorers on the season, and you're up 2-0. And let's go ahead and talk about it, man. LeBron James, I said it in my in talking about game 1. LeBron James is still really good at basketball, bro. He's still really good at basketball. Last game, we saw him have, 13 assists and 19 points. This game, we saw LeBron James in LeBron James full effect. He dropped, 28, 8, and 7. That's kind of what he's averaged for the entirety of his career. And at 41 years old, he's still doing it. I watched ESPN last night. ESPN had Brian Windhorst on, and Brian Windhorst said, yeah, man, it kind of looks like a 06 LeBron James type of game where the Cavaliers at the time were slugging it out with the Pistons. And the only difference now is that instead of 21, LeBron is now 41, which is crazy that he's still playing at this very high level at 41 years old. You know what I'm saying? And we've never seen anything like this. We've never seen anything like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just absolutely crazy. But man, the Lakers, they keep finding ways to win. LeBron taking the role of being the guy again, and his others are playing really good. You got 5 threes from Marcus Smart tonight. Luke Kennard, once again, 23 points per game, 23 points in the game, looking like high school, looking like Duke Kennard. Luke Kennard looking like Duke Kennard. You also got a good game from Hachimura, a good game from DeAndre Ayton. So the other guys, out of the 101 points that the Lakers scored, 95 of those points came from the starting lineup. So those guys are just doing their job, getting it in where they fit in. Man, that's really what it's about. And you can tell by the way they're playing, they're thinking, bet every game we win is one game closer to getting Luka Doncic or Austin Reeves back. Luka Doncic was in the building tonight, clapping and applauding his team for their effort. You know what I'm saying? And now I think it's gonna be an uphill battle if they see OKC whether Luka's back or not. But if you get Luka back, you got to punch your chance against anybody, in my opinion. I think he's that extraordinary in the offensive end. Let's kick it to the other side, man. The Houston Rockets, it's not a good look at all. It's not a good look at all, Houston. Game 1, we saw no Kevin Durant, and you lose game 1. Okay, cool. Yeah. I think Houston was still favored to win that game, but I'm thinking with no KD, that team is not going to score, and they did not score. You get KD back, and they still did not score. Kevin Durant finished 23 points on the game, had 9 turnovers. And I'm going to say this, y'all. When a team shows us who they are, we got to believe them. Now, granted, with the Houston Rockets, I think that everyone believed that the Houston Rockets were who they were saying, who they were showing they were, unless you were a Houston Rockets or a Kevin Durant or a fan of whatever they got going on over there. Because the same issues that they had in the regular season, being one of the worst clutch teams in the NBA, were prevalent again last night. Kevin Durant, 9 turnovers. Now, a couple of those turnovers were bad passes, but a bunch of turnovers were he's getting double teamed, and it got to a point where JJ Redick, shout out JJ Redick, they were sending double teams at the top of the key to Kevin Durant, sending 2 bodies at him. As soon as he comes across half court and trying to get into his hezzy pull bag, he's got 2 bodies coming at him, and he's got to get the ball off. Now, the thing about that, when you pass the ball for Kevin Durant, it's going to somebody that does not want to score. They don't got no ability to score by themselves. I think the starting lineup last night was Kevin Durant, Sengun, Jabari Smith, who had a decent game, Joshua Okogie and Amin Thompson. Amin Thompson's not an offensive threat unless it's off of backdoor cuts or DHOs or going downhill. Joshua Okogie is not an offensive threat. Sengun this series has been bad. They said Sengun, not this series, all season. The stats say that Sengun is one of the worst paint finishers in the NBA. He takes a bunch of his shots from the restricted area and he shoots bad from there. Crazy. Jabari Smith is not a creator. And did I miss somebody? I think I had everybody. You know what I'm saying? I look at the Houston Rockets and I say, man, what are they missing? They're missing a point guard. They're missing somebody else that can get their own shot, somebody else that can take advantage of a matchup. And I think about a guy that's sitting on the bench right now for them, Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet was such a key piece to this team's success last season. He was a big part of why that series went 7 games with the Warriors last year. And him going down with an ACL injury this year, I think it was overlooked in a sense. But now that we're 82, 84 games in to seeing the Houston Rockets without him, they need him bad because he's a guy that can run the offense. He's a guy that can hit that three-point shot that nobody on the team can hit, apparently, except for Kevin Durant and sometimes Jabari Smith. I guess Tyrese hit a couple threes last game, but yeah. They need help. They need help. And I think what's going on with them right now is they dropped the ball on going out and getting somebody in the trade deadline. They dropped the ball. Going out, and it don't got to be nobody spectacular, but somebody that can come in and score off of Kevin Durant. Someone that can play 4-on-3 when they double team Kevin Durant. This is off topic, but on 2K, I play a lot of 2K because I love hoops. The Rockets picked up Malik Beasley. Now, I know that probably is not realistic with the whole gambling stuff he had going on, but if I was to translate it to real life, Malik Beasley being an elite three-point shooter, putting that beside Kevin Durant would be great. That's what they need. They need someone that can either put the ball on the ground or someone that can shoot the three-ball at a high clip. And we're seeing it right now. Reed Shepherd only played 11 minutes last night. I don't think that can happen. Reed Shepherd's one of your best three-point shooters on the team. I know he shot bad in game 1, but that was no KD. He had to chuck. He's got to play. And Reed Shepherd right now is not at the level to where he's going to be a crazy game in and game out performer. He's not there yet. He may be there next season, but he's not there right now. And I think if this series ends, or the way it's looking, the series is going to end with Houston Rockets going home in the first round, there's going to be a lot of question marks about what's next for the Rockets. Is Ime Udoka going to keep his job? There's going to be conversation about Kevin Durant. I don't like it, but there's going to be conversation about Kevin Durant. And there's going to have to be a move in the offseason. Maybe they go out and get a Kyrie Irving. You know, I mean, I'm a Kyrie fan. I would love Kyrie in Houston. Maybe they go out and get a Kyrie Irving. Do something. They got to do something. Because right now it's not working. And this series, the way it's looking right now, it may not last longer than 5 games. Straight up. Moving on to the next game, we got the Philadelphia 76ers, a 111-97 win over the Boston Celtics. Not much to say about Boston. Boston had himself a down game. You know, we kind of see this from Boston every playoff run where they just can't hit the side of a barn. Nobody scored double figures except for JT and JB. JB had 36 points. Jason Tatum did not score the ball well. I think he shot 8 for 19 from the field. He did everything else well. He rebounded the ball well, passed the ball well, but didn't score the ball well. So it was really just JB out there just trying to do it all. Nobody else scored double figures. It was a down game for Boston. They're not going to have too many of these, I don't think. On the flip side, Philadelphia 76ers, man, I hopped on here in front of this camera after game 1 and I said, man, VJ Edgecombe, he's a young guy. I don't know if he's ready yet. He had 30 points tonight. 30 points in his second playoff game. Crazy. Tyrese Maxey, 29 points. Both of those guys combined for 59 points, hitting 11 threes. Those guys are crazy. Paul George gave you 19 points. He played real good on the defensive end. Drummond hit a 3. Drummond hit another 3. Oubre had 12 points. You know, the Philadelphia 76ers looked like a completely different team last night. The energy that they played with on both ends was way better than it was in game 1. Way better than it was in game 1. And you saw it. Now, I expect game 3. The game 3 might be the best game in the series because Boston's going to come out there and get back to being Boston. And then Philadelphia, coming off this win, going to have the fans behind them. Game 3 is going to be a movie. It's going to be a movie. And, of course, we got to mention it. Joel Embiid, 1 game closer to being back. I don't know if he's going to be back, but he comes back in this series, it's going to be a very fun watch because that guy, he's really good. He's still really good. Last game of last night, saw the Portland Trailblazers take a 106-103 victory over the San Antonio Spurs to make the series 1-1. The big story coming out of this one, besides the outcome, was Victor Wembanyama going down with a concussion. He fell and hit his face on the ground in the second quarter and missed the rest of the game. I think that injury, of course, played a major part in the Blazers coming back and winning that game. The Spurs really couldn't create as many three-point shots because, Kornet was out there, and Kornet's not the kind of spacer that Victor Wembanyama was. And, of course, on the defensive end, Robert Williams, and not just Robert Williams, but the whole Blazers team just started attacking the paint more. You know what I'm saying? Of course, when Victor Wembanyama is out the game. The thing with Victor Wembanyama and this concussion protocol is not the same as it is in the NFL. In the NFL, I think you got to wait like 3 or 4 days or something until you can get back into, practicing and stuff. But for the NBA, it's 48 hours. And the thing about the Spurs and Blazers series, their next game is not until Friday. So it will be more than 48 hours in between their two games. So Victor Wembanyama could very well be back for Game 3, but we don't know the extent of the concussion, how he's kind of feeling after, going through it and stuff. So I'm not betting on him playing Game 3. He probably will, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does not play in Game 3. And if he don't play in Game 3, that could be a big issue for the Spurs. For sure. Their half-court offense kind of stagnated, especially in that fourth quarter when things kind of got tight. They were up 14 points in the fourth quarter. Things got tight, and they really couldn't score. There was a bunch of isolation, not really too much movement at the end of the game. And, props to Portland. Portland has a bunch of defenders out there, and they played really great defense and buckled down and got a bunch of stops and won that game. For the Blazers, man, Scoot Henderson had himself a coming-out party. 31 points. Oh my goodness, if you high on Scoot Henderson, I really wasn't too crazy on Scoot. I knew he was nice. I think his development hasn't been as good as you wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? Just mainly because they have such an overhaul of guards over there. They at one point they had 5 point guards. They might still have 5 point guards over there, but seeing him go out there and score 31 points in this game, really, really good for sure. Jrue Holiday made some big-time shots at the end of the game. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he made big-time plays, big-time shots at the end of the game. Robert Williams, we talked about that. He had a big impact in the fourth quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Deni Avdija did not have the craziest game. They say he's maybe dealing with an injury or something right now with his back, so he didn't really score the ball too well, but he made a great pass at the end of the game to Robert Williams for an and-one dunk that kind of put the game not out of reach, but kind of out of reach. So, yeah, Blazers tied 1-1 going back to Portland. You know what I'm saying? And you look at, we got, four series that's tied 1-1. How many? There are 8 series. We still got 2 game 2s coming up tonight. So 6 series have played, and 4 of them are tied 1-1. Every series looks good except the Cavs and the Raptors. Yeah. Every series looks good, man. But make sure to subscribe button, man. We're dropping every single day. We're dropping playoff content every single day. I'm gonna have a recap for all the games that happened the previous night on this channel. So please hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share with your folks. We are on a goal to hit 400 subs. Can we hit 400 subs by the end of the first round? I don't know. If you stay this long, leave a comment. Leave a comment on your thoughts on the content and leave a comment on your thoughts on the playoffs. But until next time, going for 2. We out of here. Yeah.